Hi, my name is Wes Mueller, and today I'm going to be talking about why I think Probuilder is your friend in a game jam. Probuilder is a tool within Unity. It can be installed through the package manager. It works really well with this other program that can be installed through the package manager called ProGrids, which is a preview package. They work in conjunction to let you really rapidly prototype and build out 3D spaces. I've been using Probuilder for, several years now, and I've used it in several game jams. One example of where the rapid prototyping came in really handy was this game called Dwell that I worked on with a bunch of really cool folks for Global Game Jam a couple years ago. We decided to do something that was maybe a little over ambitious, that required us to really build out all these different rooms and spaces that we were going to kind of use in a puzzle sort of way. And there ended up being I don't remember the exact number. I want to say that there was somewhere between like 6 and 8 separate like rooms plus kind of like a lobby main area. And without something like Probuilder, which let me rapidly kind of build out these spaces, there's no way I could have gotten that done in 48 hours. So that's kind of what Probuilder is good for. That's what it can do. What I'm going to do today is I figured rather than talk a bunch about Probuilder, I would show off how quickly you can prototype something in Probuilder. And I decided that I would do that by trying to build a level, or not a level, like a space, a single space in Probuilder in the time it takes me to listen to the song The Singing Wilderness by Panopticon. I can't play the music in the talk because we don't want to get a copyright strike, but if you want to cue it up and listen to it while I work on this, I will go ahead and get that song started now. So what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is get this capsule here. This is kind of my reference as a kind of like, what's the player size? What's like the player going to be seeing? You can even, if you want, drag your main camera onto that and kind of get a sense of like where the camera is relative to your character. That way you can kind of like see your space, see like what it's going to be size-wise. So let's get some shapes going. Now, I don't have like a plan for this space. My thought was, I don't always have a plan when I'm jamming, so I kind of have to just like get a space down as fast as possible just to start like play testing something. So that is what I'm going to do. We've got a little floor here. And just going to kind of move our little player analog on top of that. You can see just really quickly, you can start slapping together a space. Takes like no time to get started. And with ProGrids, it snaps together with like no daylight in between. So I think I'm gonna make like a little, I don't know, maybe like a hallway that goes out into like sort of a lobby area. That sounds interesting to me. Maybe this is like a game that takes place in a doctor's office, who knows, or just like a waiting room of some kind. Let's see. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing something called gray blocking, and that's where you're just using really basic geometry to get like a sense of the space. This is like the first step in rapidly prototyping like a game space. So rather than getting really complete geometry, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be kind of using really simple shapes to get like a sense of where things are going to be at and how big they are. One thing to keep in mind is that you kind of always want everything to be a little bigger than you think it's going to be in terms of the space. It's really easy to make things a cavern though, so it's really mostly about like getting in and experimenting with the space and seeing what feels good. I'm going to make this as like the little office area where like you might have somebody back here. Let's even like put another person over here as like a reference. We can get rid of the camera on that one. This one's just reference. So, you know, I don't kind of like how that's hanging over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this wrap around a little. And what I'm going to do is, rather than a new shape, I'm just going to extrude here, whammo bammo. Now I've got a wraparound counter. And this could be like a little doorway or something. Let's see. Let's get some tables and chairs kind of things going on in here, since it is a waiting room. Maybe there's some benches. Maybe this is like a little table that you'd have like some magazines on. And maybe there's two of those. And again, like, I'm not trying to get super detailed stuff here. I'm just trying to get like a sense of the space, so that, you know, maybe I've got a 3D modeler on the team who's going to come in and like really make it feel more alive. So let's see. Maybe there's like kind of some half some like, you know, how in a waiting room sometimes there's like the kind of like benches in the like middle area. Let's say that that's what this is. You know, and then you can kind of come down to where your player camera might be, get a sense of like, how does this feel as a space? Like maybe this feels like it might be a little too tight here. So maybe there's another way that I can put this as like a full object. Maybe putting it here. And this might encourage the player to take this route rather than going through this more narrow passageway. Come back down, take a look at how that feels. You know, it just still doesn't feel right, so I'm just going to take it out entirely. And we'll just put like one bench. Let's see how that feels. You know, that feels a little better, but it still feels like a little narrow there. So one option might be to make the whole room bigger. One option might be to take that out. Maybe we put in another table that would have like magazines or something. We would kind of center it in the space so that it's not taking up too much space, but creating like some visual interest or something. Let's see. yeah, that doesn't feel too bad. Something like that, maybe. And then come through here. Maybe back here there's another hallway. This goes out to, like, I don't know, some doctor's offices. You know, and this is it, you know, like this quick, you can get like maybe a sense of your space so that you can start kind of testing it out, see what the flow feels like. How's that hallway feel? It feels all right. Doors always need to be wider than is realistic, because when you're looking through a game camera, nothing feels quite like it does when you're looking at it through this camera. That's why it's important to be able to get like something in to test it as quick as possible. Let's see, so here I can see that this doorway over here is not quite the same width as this one, so I'm going to delete this, bring this over, and then use that as something to kind of create a little piece over here, give myself some, make that a little bit more like the other. Yeah, and I'm fine with this because it gives like the room like a little bit more like maybe there's a doorway here and then it comes through. You know, so, you know, that quickly, you know, I've got this space built out in the course of one song. So, you know, that quickly, you know, 9 minutes or in however many seconds, I went from nothing to, you know, this wide hallway. I've got like a sense of this space. I've got, you know, a table here. I've got a little waiting room area. It's not much, but you can kind of visualize like how this is going to start to come together for your level. You might be able to start testing your movement scripts. You might be able to see if you've got like your camera tuned to how you want it. It takes basically no time once you start getting the hang of Probuilder to like really bust out some interesting spaces. And you know, this is really basic. This is off the top of my head, but that's what game jams are like. So you know, having these tools that let you really quickly like iterate, extrude things, build things out is just wildly useful. So yeah, I really encourage you to, before Global Game Jam even, like just download Probuilder, start messing around, create a space that you're really familiar with, start improvising spaces, get a hang of the tools and how they work. And if you want more information on how to use Probuilder generally, I did a talk a little while ago for PIGSquad, which you can find on PIGSquad's YouTube. That kind of goes over the basics of how Probuilder works and how to use it. So, you know, get in there, mess around, improvise, create something interesting, and have fun. And I hope that you found this at all useful or inspiring for Global Game Jam or any other projects that you're doing. And thank you for watching.
Thank you so much, Wes. That was awesome. Yeah, I really like your point about, you know, this is what game jams are like, but I think, oops, is it too loud? Anyways, yeah, thanks so much, Wes. Yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear that perspective of like, yep, that's what a game jam looks like. You have to do some of this rapidly sometimes. And I think it's also really true when you're prototyping a game that you want to make long-term, to take those same kind of, take those same approaches where you're looking at doing something quickly enough to where you're going to get something on the table, something that you can actually look at, something that you can share with your other teammates. I think that idea of rapid prototyping is extremely helpful for not only game jams, but for regular projects for all the reasons that Wes listed, such as like actually, feeling like what it is to be in a space, feeling feeling out your tech, and knowing exactly how you might be using it in the future, knowing how you're going to integrate it with your team and everything like that. So anyways, that was awesome. And I also wanted to remind you too that on our YouTube account, we have a video here from Wes that is a full 2.5-hour workshop of how to get Probuilder set up on your computer. There's a couple of questions from people in the chat of that Twitch video. This was originally on Twitch, that Wes answers that you might have along the way and everything like that. And Wes is also part of our community, so a really good way to kind of try something out yourself and to work with other people, and again, maybe give it a shot for the next game jam. Pretty cool.